Hello? Or do I turn this on myself? Oh, hi everybody. My name is Parker Swenson. Obviously, I am a drummer based in Salt Lake. I teach at Westminster College. I graduated from the University of Utah. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of you for being here. I know it's kind of a sparse attendance, but I'm thrilled to have everyone here in the room. Huge thank you to Dr. Gudmundson and Dr. Kahn, Dr. Nicholson, and your fantastic faculty here at Utah State, and for everyone putting this together. I thought I would start with just doing a little bit of playing, and then we will go into the clinic from there. So thank you. Thank you. It's kind of like a drum piece, loosely based on a solo played by the drummer Kenny Washington. He played it in like an advertisement for his drum company, Canopus Drums, and I just loved what he played, so based that drum solo on this Kenny Washington drum solo. So check him out, especially drummers, if you're not already into him, he's great. So now I want to go into a little bit of a listening exercise. I'm going to play a track over the speaker here. It's one of my favorites. It's called Milestones. The album is called Milestones. The track is Straight No Chaser by Thelonious Monk. This track features Miles Davis, Cannonball Adderley, and John Coltrane as the horns. And the rhythm section is Red Garland on piano, and Paul Chambers on bass, and Philly Joe Jones on drums. And as we listen to it, I want everyone to think about what they do to make it not just another blues. what devices they use. Think about the form. Think about how long the solos are, textures and techniques that the band uses to create interest and keep us all engaged in like the storytelling element of the tune. So if you have something to write on, or even just a notes app on your phone where you want to write down some observations or some things that you want to talk about, we'll take questions right after. And yeah, so I'll go ahead and pull that up right now. Okay, so I want to hear people's thoughts. What were some things that you noticed when listening to that? Does anyone have any observations? Yeah.
The rhythm section during solos seemed to always stay like within some confines, like volume-wise and how active they were. They never got like really loud and bombastic. They just kind of, even if the soloist was like scrambling eggs, they still stayed kind of chill.
Yeah, I think that's true. I do think that within that parameter you're talking about, they do have a little bit of ebb and flow, but it is a pretty consistent vibe, dynamic-wise, throughout. And I don't know if that would have been different live. I don't know if that's a studio thing. It seems like when I've seen a lot of live bands, they exaggerate dynamics a lot. But I think that's true. Okay, who else? Who's got something? Anybody? Raise a hand. Yeah, go ahead.
Solos would seem to kind of alternate with each instrument. One would play very like virtuosic and crazy fast stuff, then the next one would be very melodic and lyrical the whole time, and the next one crazy again, and so on.
Great observation. Yeah, I think that could be by design. It goes Cannonball, Miles, and Cannonball is energetic and playing a lot. Miles plays like a really mellow lyrical solo. And I actually think that the rhythm section does kind of pull it back a little bit for the trumpet solo. And then comes Coltrane, and that's like the peak of the tune, the Coltrane solo, where they're kind of, okay, question, did anyone notice any specific rhythm section technique that took place during the tenor solo? Anybody? Chorus 2 and 3 in the piano. So the piano and drums created a little background section during the second and third chorus of Coltrane's solo. Let me pull that up. Yeah, there we go. Great. Yeah, so there's that little background section, totally natural, probably not discussed in advance. But to me, it just like kind of adds a wallop to that solo. And then when they finish, they don't just, they didn't, keep it going for more than 2 choruses. And when I feel a big like release of tension when they finish the backgrounds. And another kind of interesting thing, like coming out of the backgrounds, there's a lot of activity happening until like bar 5. They almost like keep the energy of finishing that chorus up into the like first 4 or 5 bars of the next chorus. And you'll notice that when they transition over solos too. Sometimes the next soloist is starting, between measure 3 and 5 of their chorus to give the last soloist just a little bit of a time to trail off. But check out the drum fills coming out of that last section of backgrounds and going into like bar 5 of the next chorus. It's like a delayed resolution, kind of. They don't just do a big boom on the one. They kind of keep that peak of energy going a little bit into the next chorus. Okay, any other observations from anyone before, then I'll dive into mine. Anyone? Raise of hands. Dr. Khan, do you have anything?
There were a bunch of things down that kind of struck me, but I think it, one of the things that I think is just how much variety there is in the articulation in the solos, and even what's happening in the rhythm section. The bass is doing all sorts of, different range, sometimes playing down, sometimes playing high, playing against the quarter note pulse sometimes,
Yeah.
playing rhythmic things. So all the variety that's happening in the drum comping and the snare drum,
Yeah.
and the piano as well. And then too, how like each soloist has a clearly identifiable voice. And obviously these are like, we know these people, but it's like Coltrane sure sounds like Coltrane. Miles Davis sure sounds like himself. Cannonball Adderley, Red Garland, and how as well like. And this I think it's easy to take for granted listening to it, but like everybody's got a great time feel.
Yeah.
Like the time feel that's happening in the rhythm section is so nice, and the soloists, even when they're maybe like playing against the rhythm section a little bit, like that makes it, even when the rhythm section is maybe they're playing a little understated, it still like feels so good because of the steady pulse.
Yeah, totally. Dr. Gunmanson, do you have anything, or Dr. Nicholson?
Well, along the lines of what you were saying about maybe that was planned, I noticed the Cannonball when he came in, he didn't do like, I'm going to take it easy and build. He came in pretty busy at the beginning. So that, again, he's probably, since he knows Miles is coming next, I mean, that makes sense,
Yeah.
Busyness, and then Miles, and then scrambled eggs. And also there's, what you also expect with Wes Anderson was like, I think it was maybe something like 6 choruses roughly that Cannonball took, and maybe like 7 for Miles, and then it was like 9 for Train, which is what you'd expect because he's known for that, and he's pretty scrambly the whole time.
Yeah.
And then it's pecking order time. Then when it comes rhythm section, it's like, oh, just a tasteful 4 is all I'm taking, which is again what you'd expect.
Yeah.
But it was cool, yeah. So maybe that's backing up what we were saying before about maybe this was planned. Just like in a symphony goes fast, slow, fast. It's like
Yeah.
busy, simple, busy.
Totally, yeah. And I wanted to think about the solo lengths, That's one thing that I'm trying to start thinking about that when I'm playing. How long has this solo been going on? How many choruses have I taken? Or like, how long is this solo that I'm accompanying? How long is it? Like, just another level of awareness that I don't personally automatically do. So I kind of have to like will myself to try to pay attention to that. And, frankly, today my mind is all over the place. So I don't think I nailed counting all the choruses throughout that. But like Dr. Gummanson said, there is kind of a pecking order. Cannonball's solo is definitely the shortest in the whole piece. I think him and Paul Chambers' solos are the shortest. And then Miles and Coltrane kind of have a longer one. And then Red Garland's solo, you can kind of divide it into 2 sections. And I'll talk about that a little bit in a second. I just wanted to check and see if Dr. Nicholson had anything first.
I liked how the motivic development in each solo, and I like how it seemed that, like, Miles took a snippet of Cannonball's solo, right, and
Yeah.
started his solo and built from there, and then Coltrane kind of did that with Miles, except on a much more virtuosic level. But I like how they connected each solos motivically, and I also love just especially with Coltrane harmonically, what he did over the solo and how he really extended and kind of pushed the boundaries a little bit for this time period. I thought that was very cool. But I also loved how they play over the bar lines to make phrasing less predictable. I thought that was very cool and inspiring as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that observation that you made of Cannonball taking the baton from Miles and kind of quoting the last phrase of Miles's solo. And actually, like, that kind of ties in with this other idea of delaying the resolution a little bit and kind of like starting the next chorus a little bit into it. And I don't know why that's something that these, master players did. I like it. I think it's neat. But actually, Miles ends his solo on count one, ba-do, plays like one and then Cannonball plays da-do at the end of his solo, and Miles comes in on the and of one of the second measure of his solo. So ba-do, ba-da-da-da-do, ba-ba-da-da-da, and he does that slick kind of counter melody to what Cannonball had just played. Okay, so a few things that I thought about listening to this, and it's cheating for me because this is really one of my favorites. I've listened to it a bunch of times. Just textural things. At the beginning, the drummer, Philly Joe, is playing time on the hi-hats, not on the ride, even though the bass is walking. And I think a lot of times these days, drummers especially consider the hi-hat to be a two-feel instrument. When you put the sticks on the hi-hat, that's for boom, 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 but they're playing along with that four-feel. That's just something that I like to think about. Philly Joe played the hi-hats on the head in and like the first chorus and a half of the head out. And also, did any drummers notice what what his texture was during the bass solo? Like ride, hi-hat, brushes. Ride cymbal, yeah. Supposedly, that was Paul Chambers' preference. So, a lot of times we automatically go to the brushes or the hi-hat for a bass solo, and that can work well, but, it's not something we should do automatically. Okay, so the Cannonball solo, I feel like he has an approach where each chorus really has its own personality. I feel like the choruses feel like distinct units of music versus like, to me, my feeling on the Miles and Train solos is that they kind of flow over that unit of organization and they're playing extended things, but Cannonball kind of takes a pause at the end of each chorus and then comes up with like a neat new theme at the beginning of each chorus. So I won't play the whole track again, but if you get a chance to check this out later, listen for that. The piano's pretty active during the Cannonball solo, and then as soon as Miles starts, I think the dynamic pulls back subtly. The piano mellows out a little bit, and I think that Paul Chambers has a little more freedom. And I think he breaks off from playing just quarters a few more times during the trumpet solo, maybe because the pianist has kind of pulled back in their frequency of playing chords and their dynamics. I hear a little bit more of that bass playing against the quarter note. There's a really cool moment where he plays like this crazy harmonic. Actually, I'm going to pull that up just because it's awesome. I think it's early in the solo, like the second chorus. Did you hear that? Did you hear him hit that harmonic on the offbeat? And like Miles is playing like a held out note, and there's a moment of tension, and he's like, okay, here's my moment. I'm gonna do something awesome. So, I mean, that knocks me out. I get a big kick out of that. And then, yeah, like Braun was saying also, there's some moments at the end of the Miles solo where he's way up in the register. Paul Chambers is playing in his high register. And then going to the Coltrane solo, high energy, scrambling eggs, those backgrounds, the second and third chorus. And then it kind of mellows out for a while, and then I think it ramps back up, and then everything pulls back for the piano solo. It's like, okay, it's time to chill out. Anyone notice any drum techniques used during the piano solo? Cross stick on count. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Dr. Nicholson nailed it. 5 choruses of the cross stick on count 4. It kind of like, I guess it drives the time forward and it opens up a rhythmic element. He's not playing any snare stuff on the ands or what have you. But there's actually an interesting drum texture change that takes place 5 choruses into this piano solo. And I will pull it up right now and see if you can hear it. It's, okay, yeah. I think it comes up here in just a second. He's like playing these really light snare drum notes on all 4 beats. And if you listen to a lot of Philly Joe with Red Garland, wait till Red Garland takes a chord solo. When he starts playing block chords and moves away from the lines, listen for the snare on all 4 beats, because I think it's a thing that they had. And actually, there's something else Red does that I love. When he's playing lines, he's playing like a little chord in the left hand almost every and of 2 and of 4. Just a little something that he would do to accompany himself, and it keeps the time, like Ron was saying, the time feel of each individual player. If you had a fader and you could fade out the entire rest of the band and just solo one of the instruments, the time would generally feel excellent. And then very last thing, this is just something to nerd out on a little bit. The entire block chord melody from Red Garland's solo is actually a quote. So if you go to, it's Miles's solo from Now's the Time. Let me see if I can, let me see if I can find the right version here. Well, you might just have to take my word. I think that's a different version, actually. I think I see the version. Okay, here we go. I think this is right. Yeah, here we go. And so, pretty neat, right? You got this like transcription. He like harmonized this. At that point, it was like a 10-year-old trumpet solo. You got Philly Joe playing all four. It just sounds great. Another little nerd thing from this album, the tune "Sid's Ahead," track 2. The 3-horn melody was the solo backgrounds behind Lucky Thompson on the original Walkin'. So if you get a chance to check out Walkin' from like 1954, and check out the solo backgrounds on the title track, and then go to Milestones, go to track 2, Sid's Ahead, and you'll be like, wow, they're just like recycling material like crazy. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this tune is because it's not Four and More. It's not John Coltrane Quartet. It's not insane interaction and energy and like defying gravity and rewriting the laws of physics. It's very straight ahead. It's the 50s, you know, it's pretty straightforward, and it's like toe tapping music, but they are using techniques to make this song its own thing and to make this recording really pop. And it takes a lot of concentration on the bandstand to make that happen. And actually, I would love to play a little bit with the time that we have left. I know I've talked my way through most of this, but we've got about 15 minutes if you guys want to come up, and let's play a little bit and see what we can do to make our performance pop. And I'll play one on drums, and then if you want to get up on the second one, that'd be awesome. Okay, we could do Straight No Chaser now, or you guys could do that second without me. What do you guys want to do right now? Okay. Let's do 4. You guys say you were playing 4? Okay. Yeah, so just to like state our intention, like we're gonna make this thing feel good, sound good, and we're like obviously gonna like play the right notes and like play the tune, but then like take a breath, look around, listen, and see what else you can do to create little moments of drama. Okay, how fast do you guys normally play it? Okay, cool. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, guys. Sounded great. Yeah, do you want to, sorry, is it Trent? Yeah. Yeah, do you want to come up and do one? Sure. All right, yeah, give it up for these guys. Sounding great. Great job. One thing I noticed that I loved, I felt like you brought down the dynamic level, like a little bit into your solo, right? And then that was one on-the-spot arranging moment that we had as a group. So, awesome job. And also loved the quote from the recording, the Miles recording trumpet solo. Nice job on that. Great time, sounded great, everybody. So, okay, you guys can pick one and just go for it. All right, yeah, awesome job, guys. Sounding great. Quick, I know we're just about at time here, but some quick observations. Can you remind me your name real quick? Mason, loved what you did. You gave a little cue to the pianist to say, like, hey, will you back me up here, play some chords? Which, you know, not that either way is right or wrong. You know, letting him just play is great, backing him up is great, but I loved that you made it known what you wanted in the moment, and then went for some rhythmic stuff where you guys would, like, kind of go over the bar line together. That was cool. I loved some of the thematic stuff that you did in your solo. I heard you play a theme and kind of repeat it, develop, and then like go into some like altered sounding stuff. Sounded really cool. Everyone sounded great. Did a really great job. Couple of little suggestions. One thing for Mason, exploring your register a little bit more throughout the piece. I felt like you were up here a lot of the time. Remaining really fastidious to keeping the form and just being super confident, like, and then if there's any swimminess, which is inevitable, it happens to almost every group, somebody has got to come in and say, bam, this is the one, this is the top, you know? So that's something to think about a little bit. But I thought you guys did an excellent job, and we're just about out of time. I don't think my microphone works anymore. But the last thing I wanted to say, other than thank you all so much, thank you to Dr. Gudmundson, Dr. Nicholson, Dr. Kahn. Oh, there we go, awesome. Thank you to the fantastic faculty here at Utah State, and to everyone for coming here and bringing it, and coming and playing and listening. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you here, and to the great crew for making this happen back there as well. The last thing I want to say, guys, treasure your mentors, treasure your teachers. Ask them that question that's been bothering you that you know, weren't just going to get around to later. Take them to lunch, take them to dinner, buy them gold watches. I just lost one of my dearest friends and a mentor on Monday, Courtney Isaiah Smith. A lot of you have probably already heard. One of the most special, wonderful musicians in all of Utah has left us. You know, I'm devastated. Coming up here to hang with you all was a huge blessing, just helping me get through it. And so treasure your mentors while they're here. Courtney was a wonderful guy. We played together almost every week, save the early pandemic, usually twice for the last 3 years. And before that, he was the house pianist at this jam session that I would go to when I was just starting out. So the world's a different place without him, but I also just want to dedicate the memory, or dedicate this entire clinic and everything to Courtney's memory. Other than that, I'm all set. Thank you all so much for being here. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it.